Hey there, in today's video, we are going to be talking about how to convince people for sales. Now, this video, we are going to be talking about 6 points, 3 good points and 3 bad ones, which means points that you should keep in mind and avoid. I'm also going to give you a bonus point, but that at the end of this video. This video is for all the sales professionals, obviously, but it's also for entrepreneurs running small and medium sized family run business and for young professionals who are looking to or have joined a small and medium sized family run business. So, without any further ado, let's jump into the topic. Before I unveil all the 6 points, let us understand what we are out here to do. We want to learn about how to convince people for sales. The keyword here is not sales, the keyword here is convince. Whenever we want to convince anybody to do anything that we desire, it's important to influence them. And influence only happens when the person trusts you. So it's important that when you're trying to convince anybody for sales, that person should be able to trust you. Now, this trust element when it comes to sales starts much before the sales conversation between a salesman and a prospect. It starts at the time of marketing and brand building. But because this video is not about marketing and brand building, we will cover that in some other video. This video is about how do you build trust in the conversation with the prospect and be able to convince him to buy your product. So 6 points, let's start with point number 1. The point number 1 is called mindset. Now, it's extremely important that when you're trying to do the sale, you have the right mindset. What is the right mindset? The right mindset is that to help the prospect and not really to sell anything to him. When you go in with the mindset of selling something to that person, whether or not that person needs it or no, you are going to adopt very crooked methods, very sly methods, and the prospect may see that. So you don't want to do that. You want to adopt an approach, a mindset to help the customer make a decision, and hopefully that decision is to buy the product that you are selling. Now, to have the right mindset also means that you got to be fresh, you got to not be stressed, you got to be feeling good about yourself. And that happens when you are dressed really well and you've groomed yourself well and you are in the happy mood. So it's important as a salesperson that you concentrate on your mindset. Don't stress yourself, wear good clothes, groom yourself well, don't be sweaty and hungry and stressed. Take care of yourself before you get into the sales conversation. Now, when you've done this already, we move into the point number 2. And the point number 2 is called probing, which also means questioning. Now, obviously, like I said in point number 1, the idea is to help the prospect make the right decision. And hopefully his right decision is to buy your product. In this scenario, you got to make sure that you figure out what the prospect needs help on. To give you an example, let's say I want to go to a party. I obviously want to look good, but I don't know what that good look actually is or what my possibilities are. So I may think a red shirt would be good and I would go to a store and say, hey, you know what, give me a red shirt. Chances are he has a different color that will suit me even more. But if he's not a good salesperson, he will give me the red shirt and I may walk out with it, what is wrong. And chances are that he may not have a red shirt and he may tell me, hey, you know what, we don't have a red shirt, and I will walk out without any sales happening. A good salesperson, however, will ask me the right questions to know what according to me will make me look good. So I may say, hey, you know what, the shirt needs to be a little bright colored and it needs to be shiny because I'm going for a wedding. And he may say, you have a complexity of XY kind, and why don't you try this shirt? Have a look at this picture, and if this suits you, I think this will look better than red, or the red is the best one. I would like to correspond with that salesperson and want to agree with you. So what are some of the questions that will unveil the real desire? Like in this case, my real desire was to look good in a wedding, but I chose to say I want a red shirt. So to know the real desire, what are the kind of questions that you can ask? I have got a few questions and then you can construct on the same theme for yourself. So assuming you are selling a software or a consulting service, then the question could be something like, hello, sir, what is it that you're out here to solve today? Or what is it that you want to fix today? Now, the moment you say this, the customer is going to say, hey, you know what, people keep calling me and I don't know the status of anything, and that's what I want to fix. Now, chances are earlier the customer said, I want an ERP. But when the customer says this to you, you are able to sell the customer something that is more accurate than the ERP that he was wishing for. The second scenario, let's say you are in a cafe or a restaurant and you are trying to sell your best dish to the customer, in which case you may want to say, good evening, sir. How is it that you would like to spend your time today in my cafe? Now, the moment you say this, the customer feels very, very happy because you are concerned about his time being spent well in the cafe. And he will say, hey, you know what, I'm just looking for a couple of drinks and maybe a few starters. And then you may proceed from there and say, okay, what kind of starters would you like, etc., and graduate the conversation to selling what you really want to sell. You offer what your product is. If you're going in a store, like in my red shirt example, then you may want to ask the prospect, hello, Mr. Prospect, what kind of look would you like to carry out from the store today? And questions similar to this nature, which helps the prospect unveil the hidden desire, then simply telling you, this is the solution that I could think of and this is what I want. If you unveil the hidden desire, then the options become plenty and your conversation opens up for more possibilities. With this, we move into the point number 3, and that is logic to emotions. I have said this in several of my videos, and I'm sure a lot of people have already said this, that people buy with emotions. And it's when you ask a question to unveil the hidden desire, you are doing some logical aspect, and it's important to move from the logic to the emotions. Again, you would do this by asking a few questions, but these are the kind of questions that you will ask. What would make you feel happy? Would that make you happy? What else can I do to satisfy you further? Now, questions like these make the customer not only recheck on what feeling he really wanted, but also gets the customer more conscious about the feeling that he's getting about that purchase. And when he tells you that, oh, you know what, I think I feel okay, but if it would have been a little lighter in terms of the color of the shirt, then I would have felt a little more happy. Now you have an option to serve the customer better and give him what he wants. Now, the moment you ask these questions, you are also allowing the customer to think on his emotions, and that is how everybody purchases the product. We purchase with emotions and we justify it with logic. It's not the other way around. So that is the step that you must do after you've probed, understood the problem, and then you've served the product, and now you're checking on the emotions. Now, with 3 points done on what you should do, 3 points on what you should not do. The point number 1, which may not apply to all of you, is selling by the brochure. I have made a separate video long ago on this. When you sell with the brochure, typically I see salespeople going with the brochure, handing it over to the prospect, and then allowing the prospect to read the brochure while they are saying their own thing. This never works because you're distracting the prospect. He doesn't know whether to read or listen to you or do both. And that is not something that you want. It will not allow you to build trust. It will not allow you to know what the customer wants, and you'll never be able to open up your options to do sales. This is one of the reasons why we are able to see the movie and experience the movie better in theaters, because there we don't have anything else happening in comparison to when we see the movie at home. When we see it in the theater, it's dark. You are only seeing the movie, only the songs and fights and whatever romance that you see, and you get completely involved in it. That's exactly what you want happening in a sales conversation also. You want to avoid distraction. So should you use brochure? Answer to that is yes, but give the brochure to the prospect for thought over whatever you said after you leave. So which means when you're ending your sales conversation, you may want to give the brochure and say, this is the brochure. It has all the details that I just explained to you. In case if you feel like referring it, do refer it, and there's my number. You can call me back and I'll be happy to serve you. Now, when you do it in this fashion, the brochure acts like a reminder in absence of your presence physically. The second thing that you must not do is meet more and therefore sell more. A lot of salespeople that I meet believe in this philosophy. Now, is it absolutely wrong? Answer to that is no, it's not 100% wrong, but it has to be used very judiciously. So what I mean by this is, let's say you prospect 100 people and 20 of them you sell. So now your target, let's say, is 40. You know you got to meet 200 people. But you shouldn't do sales like that, because you will run into 2 kind of problems. One, that you may not be able to prospect the number of people, assuming your target is 60. Now you can't prospect with 300 people in, let's say, a month's time. It's practically not possible. And the problem number 2 is you may not have 300 people of database for you to prospect in the geography that you've allotted. So as a salesperson, never go with an approach of, I should meet more and more people, automatically some of them will buy. Your idea should be to improve your conversion percentage always, which means if I meet 10, how many do I convert in this month? Can I do better than that in the next month? So focus on the conversion percentage, and that you can do by following the 3 points that I mentioned earlier. The last point, or the 6th point, which you absolutely must do, and that is, sometimes losing sales is winning sales. What do I mean by this? A lot of times you may not have the product that meets the customer's demand. Now, you may not want to. In fact, you should not push a wrong product to the customer, because if you push the wrong product, he may take it and go away, but he will very soon realize this is not the product meant for me. Chances are you may push a little harder because you have sales targets or whatever, and the customer still doesn't end up buying but goes out of your store or your conversation with a feeling that he's a hard sales guy and he will never return even when he knows he wants the exact product that you have further in the future. So if you leave a customer with a good thought, you say, okay, sir, I don't have exactly what you need, but can I suggest an alternative? And if the prospect says yes, then you can suggest what you have. And if the prospect says, no, this is not what I'm looking for, then you may let the prospect go, say, sorry, sir, I was not able to serve you today, but anytime in the future you need something that we have, I'll be very happy to serve you next. Now, when you let the customer go that way, chances are that in the near future, the prospect may need a product that you have, and he will come back to you because of the way you treated him. You developed a trust based on you are there to help, not to kind of push the sales down his throat. Now, with these 6 points covered, I will give you a bonus point. This is no rocket science, but you can improve on your conversion and on convincing people on sales just by doing one thing, and that is called mock calls. What do I mean by this? I mean, you should sit with your fellow salespeople. I'm sure you may have several people doing sales in your organization and kind of do a mock call. So a demo sales pitch with your friends, and then you listen to it, make notes, and then he can listen to it and make notes and give each other feedback. If you don't have anybody you could do mock calls with, well, you have your cell phone. Every cell phone has a camera. Put your cell phone on your desk, shoot yourself, and then see how you look, how your expressions are. What are you saying? Are you fumbling? Are you not fumbling? When you do it in this fashion, you will be able to improve your own way of doing things or way of going about sales pitches much, much better. Remember something. It's the old thing. A lot of people say this, but I will say this again. Sales is an art and a science. What I have given you is a science. How you apply it, that's the art. And to master that art, you've got to do mock calls. So if you like this video, do hit a big fat thumbs up. Share this video with whoever you think is in the world of sales. In my opinion, all of us are doing sales every single time, whether in business or otherwise, but share it with anybody that you feel is relevant. If you have more ideas than what I have positioned here on this video, please mention in the comment box. I would like my channel to be a place where we can initiate discussions and learn from each other. If you have questions, please put them also in the comment box and I'll be very happy to answer them. If you've not subscribed to this channel, go hit the subscribe button because it will help me understand that you like the content and I will do more of that. And if you have suggestions on the video, please do mention that also. Don't forget the bell icon because every time I put a new video, you will be notified in that way. So until we meet next time, all you fine people, make a lot of sales, convince a lot of people and get your organization to propel. Keep propelling.